When people bring up the topic of illegal FNAF games, a few games might come to mind. Like, for example, Jolly, Case Animatronics, Lego FNAF, or even that one FNAF Plus fan remake. But no, today, we're not going to be talking about that. Today, we're going to be talking about the OG, the trendsetter, if you will, the Godfather, the GOAT, as some would say, that being me, the peak of illegal FNAF games. That sounded so stupid. And a fan game that has a very, very special place in my heart. Today, we're going to be talking about the return to Freddy's. Or Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Fan-made, the Return to Freddy's, classic. Alright. For the rest of the video, we'll just call it the Return to Freddy's, or TRTF for short. Now, some of you might be asking yourself, what the flip is the Return to Freddy's? Sorry, I can't swear. We're only like a few seconds into the video, and YouTube does not like that. Well, the Return to Freddy's, formerly known as Five Nights at Freddy's 3, fan-made, or just Five Nights at Freddy's 3 before that, unofficial, is the first game in the TRTF saga, and the first game in a series with several remasters, several sequels, one novel, several fan remakes, and apparently an upcoming reboot of the entire series, which I will be getting into later. So yeah, this game was freaking massive back in the day.
And do you know what else is massive?
Now, just heads up, this video isn't really like a deep dive into the lore of the Return to Freddy's, as there are videos out there that have covered the entire lore of TRTF and something about super cancer or some shit. This video is just going to be mainly focused on the first game and just my personal opinion on the series overall. Also, if this video does well, I might do a deep dive into the other games in the future. But for right now, we'll just focus on the first game because I unironically love this fan game. This game is like at least in my top 3 of FNAF fan games. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves and start with the first game in the series. On December 23rd, 2014, a GamesOll user by the name of BFP Films 424, aka Tyler, released the first ever iteration of TRTF under the name Five Nights at Freddy's 3, unofficial. And at the time, the official FNAF 3 wasn't going to be out yet till the next 3 months. While some people figured out that the game was in fact fan-made, some people thought that it was actually the official FNAF 3, even though at the time I was like 8 years old, and I still think that shit was fake AF. But after all that, a lot of people started emailing Scott Cawthon, saying that they were not satisfied with the new FNAF 3 game, and Scott was like,
"What the hell?
And so he descended from the heavens and told Tyler,
Stop."
And then he left her, something like that. After that, Tyler decided to rename the game to The Return to Freddy's to remove any possible confusion, and he re-released it under the new name on January 5th, 2015. So for this video, I was planning to play the original game myself, but the original game is kinda gone, and all the re-uploads and archives were sketchy AF, and it's probably filled with a bunch of Trojan virus, so I'm not gonna do that. Instead, I'm gonna use someone's gameplay on YouTube for this video, because I don't feel like turning my PC into one of those FNAF ransomware videos. So we begin the game with a quote-unquote cutscene, where you're placed in the FNAF 2 office with the FNAF 1 Night 4 phone guy call playing in the background, and a spooky slowed-down version of Ring Around the Rosie.
Ring around the rosy.
Oh, hey, well, day 4. I think you can do it. Hey, listen.
Also, I think this cutscene is implying that you're phone guy during the Night 4 phone call, because at the end of the cutscene, you fucking die. and get killed to what is supposed to be Golden Freddy, but is obviously just a recolored Freddy jump scare from FNAF 1. After the cutscene, you get sent to the main menu for this game, which is basically just a FNAF 2 title screen, but with only the Wither animatronics be on the screen. Alright, newspaper time. That is a stolen render that is not owned by Tyler. Alright, first night. We start off the night with one of the, if not the worst FNAF fan game phone calls in existence.
Hello? Hey. Why are you staying here? Don't you have more important things in your life to do? I thought he was after me. We just use that for kids now.
Like, I'm sorry, but bro just keeps yapping. But you know what? This is somewhat still better than that one FNAF Plus fan remake that uses like an AI phone guy.
Oh my god. I'm about to come.
Anyway, if you haven't realized it yet, yes, all of the assets in the game are in fact stolen from the official FNAF games. And by the way, do not be deceived. These doors do not work. You can tell from the holes in the door. Now, why doesn't it work? I don't know. Despite that, this version is somewhat better than the original, because in the original, Tyler didn't even bother to edit out the doors or just remove the feature entirely. One thing about this game that is different from any official FNAF games or just FNAF fan games in general is that the animatronics do not use any AI pathing whatsoever. What is AI pathing, you might ask yourself? It's basically what made the official FNAF games replayable and made the animatronics movements not predictable. This game doesn't. The animatronics have an exact scripted set path every time you play it, and so there's literally no replayability whatsoever. Every single night, it starts with the puppet coming out of her box, and then she goes to the main stage, activates the animatronics. You can tell that she's doing that because of this this warning thing that happens in like FNAF 2, where if you fucking don't wind the music box. And then she goes to your office, and all you need to do is wear the mask for some reason. And then you're good. Or if you're a second late, or even if you wear the mask in time, you can still get jump scared because this game is buggy as shit. And also is the only game that's made Corey X Kenshin fucking fell from his chair.
Give me some freaking
By the way, this mask mechanic works with all the animatronics. If they come into your office, just wear the mask.
I wear a mask with a smile.
Now, the map layout is basically just a FNAF 1 map with 2 additional cameras, that being the prize corner and the ceiling vent above your office. So, think of this game as a shittier version of FNAF 2, minus the music box mechanic. But one point to Tyler, to combat this, he brought back a mask mechanic that was actually scrapped from the official FNAF 2, which is the toxic meter. You know, before Scott added the music box, there was no way to stop the player from putting on the mask for the entire night. To stop that, Scott added the toxic meter that would just insta-kill you if you keep the mask on for too long. But then he eventually adds the music box and Withered Foxy, and the toxic meter was scrapped. And yeah, so yeah, you know what? Thumbs up for Tyler, I guess, for actually putting something that wasn't in the original game. And also, yes, the mask mechanic works on Foxy for some reason. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a bit weird. Now, overall, the gameplay itself for the first game, it's, pretty shit. Every asset in the game is stolen from the original FNAF games. Now, it's pretty obvious Scott Cawthon doesn't like this game. When it comes to making FNAF fan games, there are only 2 known rules. 1, it has to be free. And 2, it cannot be a carbon copy or just some sort of substitute or replacement of the original FNAF games. And this game is literally just the FNAF games. Now, Tyler didn't only piss off Scott a bit, he pissed off a lot of people. By a lot, I mean a lot. And that's the next segment we're going to get into. Also, I forgot to mention that there's these cutscenes in between every night, and it's basically just the FNAF 2 cutscenes, but instead of being on stage, you're in the office. The only difference between all these cutscenes is that they add more animatronics every night, and there's also this one OC, or I guess original animatronic that Tyler made, which I will be getting into in our next segment. When it comes to making a FNAF game or a FNAF fan game, other than gameplay, you also need good character designs and spooky jump scares. Now this game lacks both. It does have jump scares, but it lacks originality. Why, you might ask? Because all of these jump scares are basically just the FNAF 2 jump scares with a different sound effect. Now, character designs, not only are they completely stolen from the original games, there are a few of these designs that are stolen from the FNAF fans in the community. One of them you might notice is Candy the cat. Oh, sorry. I mean, Sugar the cat. Yeah, this character is literally just Candy from the FNAF fan game Five Nights at Candy's. But this was like way before the actual Candy's game came out. The renders that Tyler stole were the first iteration of Candy. Emil Mako, the creator of FNAF, actually saw the game and told Tyler to remove it, but then Emil eventually just gave him the rights to use the renders anyways. But despite that, Tyler ended up removing Candy's existence anyways. So you know what? Props to Tyler, I guess. Also, the worst part of this is not the fact that he stole the render, it's the fact that he literally just used the Toy Bonnie jump scare from FNAF 2 and poorly photoshopped Candy's face on top of it. But Candy, I mean, Sugar, would somewhat leave a long-lasting impact on the series, as there are some designs for one of the animatronics in the later game that is based off of Sugar. That being Kitty Faz. Okay, maybe there's a reason why this guy steals other people's renders instead of modeling it himself. By the way, this game indirectly caused Emil Mako to eventually make his own FNAF fan game, that being Five Nights at Candy's. This game was basically Emil Mako's canon event or some shit. Anyway, apparently this Bonnie render is also stolen from a person by the name of Rudy Tooty Booty a Bear. Nice name, bro. Also, just a quick side note, for some reason Tyler made Bonnie a female. I don't know why, but you go King, girl power. And also, this render of BB is also stolen from a person by the name of Faz Boggle, which I actually recognize some of their work, because back then they were known for making these like Photoshop withered toy animatronics, which looked pretty cool back in the day. And I still love it. I think it still holds up as one of my favorite Photoshop edits of like FNAF animatronics. That's basically all the stolen characters that Tyler took. I don't think I need to cover the entire cast of the characters, as most of them are basically just the FNAF 1 and FNAF 2 characters. But there are a few OCs that Tyler made for the game, surprisingly. One of them is Shadow Duck, which is just Shadow Bonnie Photoshop with his ears on the side of his head. Very creative. Another character that he made is called Shadow Lockjaw, which is basically just a Photoshop version of the puppet from FNAF 2 with a fedora on, which is kind of funny that he canonically wears a fedora. Bro's probably like a Redditor or Discord mod or something. Oh, wait. Moving on, if you haven't realized it yet, Lockjaw's design, which is the OG version of Shadow Lockjaw, looks similar to Tyler's profile/avatar, as this is one of the many self-inserts in this series, which I'm not going to bash him for that. I think self-inserts in your own fan game isn't the worst thing in the world, and it could work. To be honest, I kind of dig Lockjaw's later design in the later games, which Tyler actually modeled himself. So you know what? Props to him. So overall, the characters and jump scares in this game are pretty poopy. I don't know if I mentioned this at the start or not, but fun fact, this fan game is what got me into liking other FNAF fan games. I didn't even know FNAF fan games were even a thing until I discovered the existence of this shitty game. And I remember I actually watched like a YouTuber by the name of Riskrim. I think that's how you say his name. I remember watching him back in like early 2015, and also he was like the first FNAF fan game YouTuber that I watched before I discovered Fusion Z Gamer, and then I kind of just stopped watching him afterwards. And this game is also how I found out about Koryax Kenshin, because he actually played this fucking game. So yeah, I have a lot of history with this game. You know, despite the flaws that the Return to Freddy's series have, this series has its fans. I'm literally one of them. Not to mention, there's literally like a whole wiki page made about this series. This wiki page is how I got most of the information for this video. It covers literally every single thing about TRTF. The creator, the games, the characters, the canceled project, etc., etc. And in my personal and humble opinion, all of these games generally have the potential to become good games. I mean, there's already living proofs with the abundance of fan remakes of the early TRTF games. The Return to Freddy's Rebuild, The Return to Freddy's Remake, The Return to Freddy's Winter Wonderland, The Return to Freddy's 2 Rebuild. All of these games are made with love. They use Tyler's shitty mechanics and build upon it with better ones. Better models. Well, some of them are a bit questionable, but I digress.
She is such a bad bitch, though. I will fuck.
Better gameplay, better everything. I did play all of them at some point, but if I remember correctly, the Return to Freddy's Rebuild series disappeared out of nowhere for some reason. I don't know what happened. But yeah, I played it before it got taken down, and it was pretty good. If you want to see it, I'm pretty sure there's still a lot of gameplay videos out there on this godforsaken website we call YouTube. Also, while I was doing research for this video, I found out someone even made a VR remake of TRTF2, which is just insane. And I don't know why they choose TRTF2. I think that one is probably like the worst looking one out of every single TRTF game that Tyler made. Anyway, this series generally has potential. I mean, after the backlash he got for making the first game, he decided to learn modeling his own character and made his own stuff for the later TRTF games. And despite his questionable modeling skills, you can tell that his modeling skills actually got better as the series went along. Despite the flaws, the controversies, the horrible freaking novel, and something about super cancer being part of the lore, and the drama that Tyler got himself into, you can tell that Tyler generally has a love and passion for these games that he made. And at the end of the day, at the time was still just a teenager doing what he loves the most. Now, earlier in the video, I mentioned something about an upcoming reboot of the entire TRTF saga. Well, here it is. I'll be honest with you, Chief. It looks pretty good. This trailer was released like 3 years ago, back in 2022, and Tyler now has his own freaking studio and is working with his brother and a team of talented people for this project. And by the way, TRTF doesn't stand for the Return to Freddy's anymore. It's now called The Road That Falls, as Tyler wanted to move away from the FNAF fan game scene and make this game his own. But there are, of course, still some FNAF inspirations here and there, as you can clearly tell that this is supposed to be Bonnie. But you know what? I'm okay with it. Also, you were not tripping. That was the PlayStation logo at the start, as Tyler and his team are going to be releasing this game for the PS5. And they're actually working with Sony Studio to make this happen from the looks of it. You know, it's crazy to me that this game series went from a game that was made by a kid in his bedroom with stolen assets to an upcoming game on a big boy console. Loki, I'm kind of hyped for this game. I don't know what the game is going to be about. Maybe it's your standard point-and-click FNAF game, or a full-blown free-roam game like Security Breach. Please don't make it like Security Breach. Please, I beg you, make it better. But yeah, I wish you, Tyler, your brother, and your team a good luck, because this game might actually be peak. But let's be honest, the original Return to Freddy's is more peak. Anyway, that's all for today's video. I hope y'all enjoy this little video I made. If you do, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below so you can help push this video into the algorithm. If this video does well, I might actually make a video covering the entire series, like everything. I'm currently trying to, trying to do stuff for my channel, and if this does well, I will start making more. Anyway, that's about it. Epic outro. See ya.